One is, I think Lalita Anand has asked when Mrs. Mohana was talking. Mrs. Mohana briefly touched on the maintenance payable to women while in marriage. Very interesting, ma'am. Could you please elaborate that? Thank you. So that was the question.
Correct. Thank you, Sujata. See, every woman is entitled to be maintained. The moment she gets married to a person, she has a right to be maintained. That is provided under every legislation. And for example, we have section 18 in the Hindu Marriage Act, where it says the wife has to be maintained at all points of time. And in fact, you know, that Hindu Adoptions and Maintenance Act, section 18 says that she has to be maintained. Every enactment for Hindus or any other religion also, unless there is a reason to stay away, a wife normally lives with the husband. So he always takes care, and even assuming she is an earning member, a husband has a duty, even under the protection of domestic protection of the women against the Domestic Violence Act also envisages when we go under file an application. Every woman has to be protected and given maintenance. The occasion to approach a court arises when during the subsistence of a marriage, due to some problems, the woman has to stay separately. Otherwise, every woman, even while living in the same household also, she has a reasonable, expectation to be protected. And there are series of judgments, and the latest one by Justice Indu Malhotra, which says there are, all kinds of legislations. She has sorted out all the legislations in this regard and compiled them in one case, and to say that a woman has to be maintained by the husband from the moment that she gets married. And she has the right to maintenance is available in various forums, like a Domestic Violence Act, like a Criminal Procedure Code, section 125 also says, irrespective of religion, you get maintenance. Then there is a Hindu Marriage Act, which provides for a maintenance. Hindu Adoptions and Maintenance Act provides for a maintenance. And therefore, among all these, if you get maintenance under one enactment, that gets set off in the other application also. What I'm trying to say is that a woman has to be maintained, and if for reasons such as the husband is behaving in a strange manner, or harassing her, or he is living with another woman, or there is a case of that he has acquired some disease, or it is a case of that he has deserted and gone out, or there is a case where he has converted into a different religion. On these grounds, if a woman reasonably lives away from the husband, including living in a separate room in the same house also, she has to be mandatorily maintained by the husband. That is what I meant when I say during the subsistence of marriage and thereafter. Even during subsistence of marriage, when we file in cases where there is a separation petition pending, it is mandatory that a maintenance has to be provided by the husband to the wife. Likewise, even if there is no case also, a wife who has a reasonable reason to stay away from a husband, including under the same roof or outside the roof also, she has a right to be maintained. She can maintain a petition under any of these enactments, or even under 125 CRPC, to get an immediate order from the magistrate. In a summary proceeding, maintenance will be ordered. So that is, if you want further explanation, then I can give you. This is what is contemplated under all these enactments. The right to be maintained is a right for a woman under every religion. She has a right to live on her own. I mean, if there is a problem, I'm sorry. She has a right to live on her own. Yeah, please, Sujata, sorry.
Ma'am, does this Maintenance Act differ when the woman is working?
I'll answer that. A woman, what is maintenance? It is not like Article 21 contemplates right to life. A right to life is not a mere animal existence. Suppose husband is better placed and the wife was used to a specific kind of living with the husband according to his status. And thereafter, when they separate, she is in a smaller employment, though she is earning. She has a right to be kept in the same status as that of the husband. That's what the law contemplates. There are a series of judgments by the Supreme Court, which says from time and again, a mere maintenance doesn't mean to just for an animal existence or hand to mouth. It depends what kind of status a husband has in the society. So he has a duty to provide a similar status to the wife. So even assuming a wife is employed, it doesn't stop her from approaching the court for getting a maintenance which is at par with the husband. She has a right. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am, for answering that very clearly. I think there's one more question, and I'm going in the particular order. Chitra Gopinath, shouldn't legal awareness for women and children be introduced in schools and colleges in their curriculum? Can the legal fraternity take it up with the government? I think very important question.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a very relevant point, well taken. In fact, it is at this level. I always feel that it all starts at home. The equality, treatment, that the teaching for men and women alike. We have to teach our boys and the girls as to how to respect the other gender. We have to tell our boys how to, give a helping hand to the family members and also to look after their sisters and their kin or even friends who are girls, and how to behave well with them. It starts from there. So coupled with that, if we can tell our school people, or we can take it up with the authorities to conduct the curriculum aspect, will have to come from the government. The syllabus and all, either it should come from the CBSE or the state curriculum. It has to be incorporated. We can take it up with the government. There is no doubt about it. We can make a representation. Of course, we all have a duty towards that. We can write it, and if it's not implemented, it can be approached in a court of law. But nevertheless, we can request the school authorities to conduct a periodic gender sensitization programs, or even programs which will make the children aware of what are the rights. Of course, we have subjects such as civics and political science today in schools, but they are not fully, they give you some idea about fundamental rights and other things. But to the level of taking up women's rights and how to make them aware, even the children and the school level itself, if they are made aware, I think it will go a very long way in sensitizing the society as such, because it's not merely the legislation. Like my colleague here would say, that it is the mindset, ma'am, which has to change. It's not merely the law on paper or even the implementation, but I think it is the society mindset which has to change, which has to start from the home, from the schools to the colleges, and it should reach this level. If it is taken up in unison like that, then I think we'll go a very long way. It's a very relevant question. Well put.
Thank you, ma'am, for answering that. Very important question and well answered. We have next question from Setu Kumar. I have a question for Mrs. Ambuja Mohan. While there are so many protective measures in law for women, how good is the situation on ground for women in patriarchal societies? As you mentioned in Bhanwari Devi's case, even a third-party protest from women can create so much anguish for her. Ambuja ma'am, for you.
I went through a recent data where it says when they had, when they were collecting data regarding sexual harassment to women advocate, it was 64%, it seems. 64% of women advocates are in one way or other sexually harassed, be it in contact or gesture or some sexually abused moves or whatever. So this is the state. So how are we to protect this? See, as my friend Mohana, advocate Mohana said, the work setup, the people, colleague working with them should first cooperate. See, it is like, it's a collective responsibility. Only that can protect. See, something happening, that's what we say whenever we go for a awareness or inquiry, such sort of, we go in for a internal complaints committee inquiry. What we say is, and what we have observed from there is, unless you talk one-to-one, no, whenever something happens to you, even if it is a small thing, you doubt it's a sexual harassment happening to you, you should speak to a close associate or your friend and keep them updated regarding what's happening to you in the workplace. That future, it's going to be a proof for us. So that, see, it should start from the establishment. And as I said, the employer's responsibility. And I spoke to a few of my friends in US, I was asking them how is that sexual harassment cases.
Ma'am, please. Atara respect.
Can't hear Ambujam.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, what they see was, can you hear me now?
Yes, now.
Okay. In US, in the workplace, as soon as a morning a complaint is being addressed to the redressal forum, that complaints committee, it goes to the national authority. So and they are supervising what is happening to this case. So this is how, like, once there is an authority which supervises, this sort of complaints and this sort of happenings can be reduced. I think this is a question you put to me, no, Sujata?
Yes.
In addition, I may say one thing. If you permit, I will say, in addition to what Ms. Ambujam says, a constant sensitization of men is required. Firstly, though there is the sexual harassment term is defined, a sexually colored remark or a stare or a gaze or a very, a strange look, or even, sending messages which are sexually colored. But many a times the men who has not interacted much with women in workplaces, they really do not know what exactly is a sexual harassment. So even if very genuinely some people go and approach and try to smile and talk, some people may object because it's a very subjective term, sexual harassment. So unless the men are sensitized about what is sexual harassment, and periodically every establishment endeavors in understanding, sometimes, even the employers may not know what is a sexual harassment. By paper compliance, they have appointed ICCs, but they themselves will not know, because many a times we have seen the chairpersons or the head of the organization in big cases also, we have seen that, head of the organization himself is implicated under the sexual harassment complaint. So it's very, very important to sensitize everybody in the establishment by an ICC or through NGOs and other aspects, to sensitize what is sexual harassment so as to avoid it at the threshold level itself. So that, when an atmosphere which is good is created, then the women feel better and they come out more in number for employment. Otherwise, even the domestic front, if they are not sensitized, they won't send. Suppose I go and give a complaint to my mother or a sister, this is what happened in the workplace. Next day, they may not ask me to go, they'll stop me from going for work, or even a college or anywhere else, whichever place I was going. There are certain rural areas, even now they believe that the girls cannot be sent to a hostel or an outstation just because they fear for all these, menace. So therefore, it is very, very essential to equip them and to sensitize them.
Thank you, ma'am, for answering that. It's very, very clear, and I think it gave us a lot of insights. And there are more questions pouring in actually for the panel. One is, can women give multiple complaints at police station on her husband, that is jurisdiction of her mother's home, in-laws house, her own house? I think this was touched upon when you spoke.
Domestic violence.
Yeah. They can give wherever they are located. They can give a complaint. One thing I must forewarn all of you, and this is something which will go against us also, is that please do not give complaints when it is not warranted. We have seen complaints where, assuming there is a husband who has been causing harassment or a domestic violence, our tendency is to implicate everybody in the family. Your mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law may not be in India also, brother-in-law, whoever is not even available, who has not seen her for years together also will be implicated, only with a view to, wreak vengeance. So there are circumstances, we keep on filing a complaint, doesn't matter if it is very genuine, you can file a complaint, you don't need a lawyer, the police station has a duty to provide you with a free service of a lawyer. All that is there, we have all the rights. But please remember, if really the person who is causing harassment or causing a problem is only X, don't implicate Y, Z and A, B, C, D, because the complaint will be ultimately rejected, and that sends wrong signals even for genuine complaints. because the courts have time and again deprecated that whenever the courts are seeing mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law getting, our parties arrayed in a complaint, they say this is a frivolous complaint, even assuming they were actually party to the harassment physically. So therefore, please, ourselves, we should have some restraint. We can file complaint wherever we are, but after 6 months and 8 months, only because your settlement is not coming through, implicating somebody only because as an arm twisting method is deprecated. So please restrain from that, but genuine complaints, please do make it. Otherwise, there is no respite for you, those who are undergoing the problem. You can file a complaint. How much ever complaint you want, you can file it. And there is a continuing cause of action. So therefore, it's not necessary that you should do it on the same day. Even the Sexual Harassment Act and all provides, there is no time limit. Suppose a person who has got harassment is unable to come out in the open and make a complaint, or even a rape, a survivor who is unable to come out and make a complaint for the fear of a social stigma or the family stigma. There is no time limit. You can make a complaint wherever you are, whichever in fact, your friends can make a complaint as far as sexual harassment is concerned. Anybody can make a complaint on your behalf also. So therefore, you can make a complaint wherever you are, how much ever you want.
And it is
Ma'am,
given
adding on to your
responsibility to the police station also. Not necessarily it should be in her jurisdiction. She can give it wherever it has happened. And it's the duty of the police officer, if it is not in his jurisdiction, to place it before the right jurisdictional police station. So the duty is more on the police officer to whom it is addressed. So that much privilege has been given to women's complaint, domestic violence complaint.
Mohana ma'am, I have this question based on what you just told. So I'm not sure whether I understood it right, but when the harassment is there and the woman wants to come out, is it okay if they can complain after many years also, because that's when she's got courage to come out? Is there any time limit that you cannot?
There is no time limit, but there is one caveat to that, if I may say so. See, you can make a complaint. We are seeing there is a trend now because there is a Me Too movement. People are coming out today because earlier they were not bold enough to come out. Now there are legislations to protect, like Ms. Ambujam said, the Vishaka is an NGO which took up the case of Bhavri Devi. Therefore, it's called Vishaka case. At that point of time also, that was in 90s, 96, 97, when there was no legislation in place, Vishaka gave us the guidelines of sexual harassment. It took about 16, 17 years to frame a legislation. In 2013 only we got a legislation despite the court's directives, but the directives were held good. But what I am trying to say is that in spite of all that, you can come out now, and you can come out in the open when you feel better, safer, you can come out. But there will always be this doubt, which you will have to cross the threshold doubt, the limitation of establishing a prima facie case against the accused. So therefore, that anyway, you have to face it. So you will have to prove that really you underwent that. We saw recently cases also, that MJ Akbar's case and the Priya Ramani. There are other cases also where they have come out after many years. The Tarun Tejpal case, there are a lot of them. Some of them are able to come immediately, but some find it very hard. It's easier said than done, actually. It's very difficult.
Especially when the victim has to relive the trauma of whatever happened years ago. Thanks, ma'am. So we have Rachel asking, what are the rights of wife who is earning and the husband isn't? And they're separated, but he has assets and another source of income.
I have said this actually when you asked me a little earlier. A earning wife also has a right to be maintained. In this case, I do not know whether there is a child also, whether there is a child or no child. Child has a right independently to be maintained. So much so that even assuming a mutual consent divorce has been arrived at, still the right of a child has to be determined separately, and custody has to be determined. I am saying maintenance of a wife is intact, even assuming she is earning. She can go to the court and say that my earnings are for A, B, C, D purposes, which is not sufficient. I am earning. At the same time, I cannot be, I am not able to support myself in these circumstances. So I need to live in the same status in the society in which I was living prior to coming out of the house. So I need to be supported by my husband. She can apply for maintenance. She has the right to apply.
Even if
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
not earning.
He has a right to get, see, unless there is a reasonable cause for not earning. Supposing he's mentally retarded, unable to, I can't use that word, he's probably challenged. I'm sorry. He's mentally challenged or disabled physically, that he can't see or he can't do any work. They are extreme circumstances. There are cases where husbands deliberately leave jobs and then only live on rental incomes to say that I am not earning anything. So those are circumstances, I would say you can still go to the court. And if you can show that he is capable of earning, then you have a right to be maintained. You can raise it, you can agitate it. There is no this thing that you cannot go. It's up to you to prove that, you know, he is capable, but deliberately not doing it because of the case pending. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. There have been a lot of feedbacks about the session and the question and answers, the way you all have handled the clear explanations and a lot of insights. So I'm just focusing on the questions right now. We have Harisha Anand, whose I think question is quite in line with what I've asked, but there's an additional thing to it. There's been several cases of sexual harassment complaints, especially in schools that have recently surfaced. Is there a specific period of time within which a victim must register a complaint from when the time took place? I think that was similar to what I asked. And how is the victim protection / anonymity of the person maintained?
See, when it's school, no, she's a child. If she's below 18, then it comes under protection of sexual harassment, POXO Act. It comes under POXO Act. That she has, through any of her guardian or through her school authority, it depends on who is the perpetrator, no? She can lodge a complaint. And of course, we have now separate courts addressing these cases, POXO courts addressing these cases where it can be referred. And they, like in protection, the Sexual Harassment Act, no, like that, in the POXO Act also, there are various guidelines and privileges given to the child, how to, where to go, how a complaint can be placed, what is the responsibility of the person next who knows about it. Even if it's our neighbor and if it is happening to a neighboring child, that's a big responsibility for us, that it is our responsibility, and we not making it as a crime, like knowing it and not helping her in placing a complaint is itself a crime. So that's sort of a big responsibility is placed on the kin or her teacher, guardian. And the time limit here also, as Mohana said, see, the child should be bold enough to speak immediately. No, it would have happened earlier. So it is all that how you convince what you went through. The child has gone through that abuse and what she went through. So that is the important factor here. So she can give a complaint through a representative or a guardian.
See, many times the child is unable to explain that she has undergone this
harassment.
By the time the parents find out what has happened, itself it takes time. So we can't fix a timeline, though, you know, legislations may prescribe time for anything, but these are kind of complaints that you can definitely come out and tell the court that there is a problem, which is why we had to, you know, go through this. But it's always advisable, as soon as you come to know, to take the child or a woman to a nearby, you know, a medical a practitioner and to have a medical checkup done. It's always better, always better.
So aren't they, in that case, the child will have to also have a session with a counseling session? Yeah,
absolutely.
Isn't it mandatory?
It is mandatory. Counselors are generally provided in all the schools now, and even private counselors, I mean, are available, but it's not affordable for everybody. So it's always advisable that the schools should talk, you know, make the counselor speak to the child, and the child should be bold enough and comfortable enough to come out.
Thanks, ma'am.
We had a recent case, Sujata, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah,
we had a recent case where it happened in it's not a school, in a polytechnic college where they were minors. So when this was referred, the Coimbatore collector took up so much, he used all his power, and he took up so much pain to take up the case, and whatever asked by us, the recommendation passed by us was initiated by him.
That's very commendable, ma'am, like especially when we have support from the authorities as well. So we have another question from Yamini. As a citizen, people experience racism. What is your opinion about it and how can we prevent it?
Sorry?
As a citizen, people experience racism. What is your opinion about it and how can we prevent it? Question from Yamini.
Our constitution prohibits any sort of discrimination based on race, sex, place of birth, or any caste, class. So therefore, it is absolutely to be deprecated, and it is unfortunate that still people are using, race as a ground of discrimination, which is to be deprecated. Many a times I feel that women also a party to, and also they also stand by to these kind of, allegations. So I think even as women, we also learn our responsibilities, and if we don't yield to such kind of, we don't give in or we don't participate in such kind of discrimination based on race and talk about race, it's better for us also. And we can take it up, because it can't be, nobody can actually discriminate or, make any kind of comments on based on race. It's not correct. And it's very unfortunate.
Any other questions from our participants here? Okay. Hema ma'am has said that personally, I feel advocate's role is very crucial in understanding and handling and leading the case, unlike business. Yeah.
True.
Especially because they bring a rational perspective. I would like to add, I like the way Mohana ma'am especially worded. She said law contemplates while telling something. I felt it was very evolved usage of the word. Law doesn't impose, it contemplates. It's giving you a thing in various scenarios. What is it that, we can do? But I think it ultimately lies, the onus lies on us in terms of our attitude, how non-judgmental we are, and how we are, at the end of the day, can we be a coexistent society and be kind to each other?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's all the mindset, Sujata. It's all the mindset. And, in fact, there are cases like Ms. Ambujam said, in domestic violence, many a times, like Ms. Udaya said, in domestic violence, many a times, the women of the household are also party to such, harassment being meted out to women. So if, first of all, we should change ourselves and our mindset should change, and we should take up our rights very seriously, and we should not give it up. And when the children come and tell us about certain problems, for example, harassments and other things, we should take it up seriously. But every level, I'm saying, it's not merely about equality and equal treatment of laws. It's also about anything that happens. Women are also equally, we have a very important role to play in every aspect of life and in career or everything. We expect every freedom to be given to us, and we need all the rights, everything. But at the same time, we should not abuse or misuse. And therefore, our rights will be taken up seriously by the other gender, and the courts also that endeavor to protect us and implement the legislation, whatever has been achieved till date. So, effect of your question is, what should we do? What is it that you want to know? Are you asking for all the legislations are saying what, or what are you saying? What is in particular that you want to know?
Asking me?
Yeah.
No, nothing in particular. It was just the way you worded it. I think at least from the audience side, from the participant side, I think it's very much understood that our constitution or legislation has all laws to protect and ensure women gets fair treatment. But I, at the end of the day, it's in the conditioning and the mindset of people.
Definitely. It's about creating awareness also. See, we have to sensitize. See, for example, we have to sensitize our police force periodically, our magistrates periodically, our judges. In fact, we conduct sexual harassment programs periodically, even for the judges as well as lawyers in Supreme Court. That's only one angle I'm saying. That's only one legislation. I'm saying there are legislations and legislations. which are giving us rights based out of the Constitution. There are various enactments. Like I said, Maternity Benefit Act. Like a woman is fearing for getting a child because she will not get that kind of leave in an organization, nor she will be able to nurse a child, nor she will be able to, get, that kind of salary. After that, she will be worried whether she'll be able to go back to the job. So therefore, this Maternity Benefit Act is in place, which is applicable to any establishment which has more than 10 people employed. Are we aware of this? No. We have to just create an awareness of knowing that is only one enactment. Like in families where they detest female children, there is a female feticide. So therefore, they go to the scanning center and find out what is the sex of the child to be born, and then there itself they do abortions. They force you to undergo abortions. So there is an enactment to stop the scanning centers, to letting them know about what is the sex of the child in the womb. There is an enactment. Both are punishable. Both people can be punished. The person running the scan center and the person who is asking the question. Like you have a Dowry Prohibition Act. You can't demand nor pay dowry. Everywhere there is a mutual punishment, there is a mutual obligation also. Are we aware of all these things? That is the ultimate. To begin with, let us sensitize people. Go to even police people. They don't know which complaint has to be registered, which cannot be registered. You must go, if you have, some people have the wherewithal, a good lawyer who represents, go to the police station, they get a complaint registered against the entire family members of the husband. Whether it is true or false, nobody questions. There are genuine cases where police refuses to register complaints. So there are misuse, abuse at both levels. So what I'm saying is that first of all, initially, let us create an awareness. Let us also join hands to that. State has a duty to create awareness also in respect of all the legislations which are in place. Each one of us should know our constitution. Why not we read our constitution once in a while and find out what is written there? That is our Magna Carta. That gives out the framework for functioning of the government. That gives our duties and our rights as well, from which flows all the legislations framed by the center as well as the state. So let us understand our constitution. Let us also give it back to the society by creating awareness whenever possible. Of course, state's duty is there. Coupled with that, whenever we get a chance, if we create, then they will know what is right and what is wrong, what is given to me, what is to be exercised, what cannot be done. So that way we have to sensitize the opposite sex as well. So that will create a very harmonious, and a coexistence is much possible, like you asked in the beginning, that whether it is possible to coexist beautifully. Like you said, we are all gifted. We have such a backing. We are able to sit and talk about it today. But there are many thousands and thousands of people who are unable to even to come to the platform to listen to it. So it is, we have to start from the basics. Let us create awareness, and then while coming to us for implementation also, we can create a situation where, like giving free legal aid, that's where it's very crucial. We have to enroll ourselves in some free legal aid. As lawyers, we have a duty, I would say, like somebody had asked, as lawyers, your role and responsibility is equally important. Yes, we have to tell the people who are coming to us for legal aid, we can say that this is your right. This is how you have to get it implemented in courts of law. It will go a long way, but it will take some more time. We have come a very long way. From 1950, we have come a very, very long way, but we will go further depending upon, all our, and, when the mindset changes, like I said, from the house to the school to the college, if the mindset changes, I think the future generation will take it to a different level. And I don't see there will be much more problems when they grow up and come to the positions. Yeah.
The enactments are such that it protects you from the cradle to the tomb. Till you go to the tomb, no? It's only for you to take it up. The matter, I mean, whatever, when the legislation and the central government and the state has passed it, we have to raise it. The duty is on us.
I think the specifications or the thing is on self-responsibility here, ability to create awareness, and I think such a positive interaction, 1.5 hours, but it doesn't feel like that. So Mohana ma'am, Ambujam ma'am, and Udaya ma'am, thank you for your very rational and balanced way of interaction with us. where I don't think anywhere there was a bias in terms of, like I said, I think women's rights are human rights. So you're stressing on the point that it shouldn't be misused and should be very rational on, how you should use it. With this thought, from bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Gratitude for being a part of this. Over to Surekha ma'am.
Thank you very much. You all have been very erudite. And I think all of us are privileged to have you all. And thank you, Sujata, for being the moderator. Good night.